Young woman buys old house and renovates it back to new in 2 years start to finish. Everyone in the neighborhood called it the widow's house. Peeling paint curled like paper, vines strangled the chimney, and shutters hung askew like crooked teeth. No one had lived there in nearly a decade. Kids made up ghost stories about it. Grown-ups whispered rumors, about the old woman who once lived there, about heartbreak and solitude, about how the house had just given up when she died. Then came Lily. She was 27, with a quiet smile, a second-hand truck, and not much more than a dream and a dog named Finn. The house wasn't her first choice, it wasn't anyone's, but it was the only one she could afford. She signed the papers on a rainy Tuesday in April, her hands trembling more from hope than fear. The real estate agent handed her the keys and said, "I hope you know what you're doing." "I don't," Lily replied, "but I'm going to try anyway." For the first few weeks, it was just Lily and Finn and the echo of a house that seemed unsure of her. The floorboards creaked with suspicion. Windows refused to open. The roof groaned at night. It wasn't just old, it was hurt. But Lily didn't flinch. She sanded and scraped. She patched the roof with tar and prayer. She taught herself to use power tools from YouTube and befriended the guy at the hardware store who started setting aside scrap wood and surplus paint for her. She spent her weekends hauling junk to the dump and her nights sketching out floor plans with a glass of wine. It was grueling and often lonely work. But she wasn't just rebuilding a house, she was rebuilding something inside herself, too. A few months in, she discovered something strange, a faded envelope, wedged behind a kitchen cabinet. Inside was a letter, yellowed and soft, addressed to the next owner. "I don't know who you are, but thank you. If you're reading this, you care enough to look where no one else has. I hope you'll see this place for what it was, not a ruin, but a home filled with love. I was alone in the end, yes, but I was never unloved. Please don't throw away the rocking chair. It belonged to my husband, James. He built it with his hands and sang to me in it every Sunday. If it still rocks, it still remembers." Lily didn't cry often, but that night, she did. Right there, in the middle of the kitchen floor, holding a stranger's letter and feeling more connected than ever before. From then on, she worked differently. She kept the rocking chair. She sanded it down and polished the wood until it shone like memory. She left the heart-shaped locket she'd found in the fireplace mantel resting on the windowsill. Every time she made a change, she whispered, "What do you think, James?" Soon, the neighbors started to notice. Mrs. Kaplan, who used to scowl at the broken shutters, dropped off a plate of scones one Saturday. "My husband helped paint that fence back in '78, she said. "Mind if I lend a brush?" A group of local teens, curious and a little bored, offered to help sand the porch in exchange for pizza. One of them ended up building flower boxes with Lily. He'd never touched a hammer before. Even the man who once told her that house should be condemned, brought her a crate of vintage doorknobs he'd salvaged from a job site. "Figured these deserved another home," he mumbled. The house had become more than wood and nails. It had become a bridge. 2 years passed. On a bright spring morning, Lily tied a ribbon around the front gate and invited everyone on the street. She didn't expect much, maybe a few curious faces, some polite nods. Instead, the entire block showed up. They brought folding chairs and potluck casseroles. Someone brought a guitar. Someone else brought a framed photo of James and the original owner, sitting on that very porch. One by one, people wandered inside, stunned. The once collapsing house now glowed with warmth. Refinished floors gleamed. The old fireplace crackled with life. Light streamed through the same windows that once refused to open. And in the corner, the rocking chair stood, just as she'd promised. Mrs. Kaplan sat in it, closed her eyes, and smiled. It still remembers. At sunset, a woman Lily had never met approached her quietly. She looked around the house, tears in her eyes. "My grandmother was the one who lived here," she said. We lost touch. I always wondered what became of the house. I can't believe it's still standing. Thank you for bringing it back. Lily didn't know what to say. So she just hugged her. The story went viral after a neighbor posted a time-lapse video, from broken to beautiful, 2 years in 2 minutes. People around the world watched the house transform, not just in wood and paint, but in soul. Messages flooded in, strangers thanking her for reminding them what kindness could build. Lily never planned to go viral. She just wanted a place to call home. But in fixing a forgotten house, she found a forgotten community. She uncovered love layered beneath decay. And she reminded everyone watching that sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is believe something broken can still be made whole. Final frame. Lily stands on the porch, Finn by her side, sipping coffee from a chipped mug that once belonged to James. The caption reads, "Not everything that's old is lost. Sometimes, it's just waiting to be loved again."